With sinking admission rates, high-stakes testing, rising tuition costs, unimaginable debt, and an unhealthy fixation on a handful of most selective schools, we are debilitating the next generation of learners. The message we inadvertently send: a prestige acceptance is better than a joyful childhood. Hi, I'm Mark Barnes, and this is another edition of the Hack Learning Podcast, and today we are hacking college admissions. In the open, you heard from Brennan Bernard, director of college counseling at a private prep school in Manchester, New Hampshire. In his article shared by Valerie Strauss on the Washington Post, Bernard says, in an ideal world, college preparatory education would encourage students who crave knowledge, seek community, engage, desire connection, and live their lives. We say we want our children to feel secure, be inspired, and take risks with their curiosity. Bernard compares the college admission process to the Hunger Games, the popular Suzanne Collins novel in which children are forced into a winner-take-all fight to the death. And of course, this, if you know the story, leads to rebellion. And Bernard is sort of suggesting rebellion in this piece shared on the Washington Post website, as he wonders how such a terrifying metaphor like this is even possible. Bernard says, the reality of Hunger Games comes closer to the truth where students battle to survive in application pools, seeming to demand perfection. In a race to be the most selective, attract the best students, field the best athletics teams, and project a polished image, colleges have lost sight of the best interest of those they wish to serve. Bernard challenges education stakeholders to join a different kind of rebellion. Among other things, he urges students to remain true to themselves, to consider colleges that expand their world. This is a very powerful piece that Brennan Bernard writes that is shared by Valerie Strauss on the Post. But in terms of action and impactful hacks, it falls a bit short. So as we do here on the Hack Learning Podcast, I'd like to springboard off of the powerful information and ideas that Bernard shares about the college admission process and share 3 hacks that I believe are impactful enough to change this process. Now, it won't happen overnight. While hack learning is grounded in simplicity, I think the ideas are simple, but they don't always happen overnight. They will take collaboration. They'll take solidarity, and it'll take time. But it can happen. So here's what I suggest. First, eviscerate the GPA. Now, I've talked about this before on this podcast. Grades lie about achievement. They misrepresent learning. They're subjective. There's really nothing good about grades and about a grade point average. And unfortunately, too many colleges tend to focus on a GPA. They label students with this number, or schools do in the K-12 world, and the colleges focus on this number. We need to eliminate the GPA. If academic scholarships are to be awarded, they should be based on a portfolio of artifacts, interviews, and feedback that truly provide evidence of performance and achievement. In the digital world in which we live, it's time to show off because we can do it with more than a number. It's time for students to show what they've done over a lengthy amount of years of school and to say, this is who I am. You can see it. So we need to eviscerate the GPA. And hack 2 is ignore colleges who refuse to carefully review portfolios. Some people say, well, it's too hard. What about big schools that admit thousands of students every year? How are they going to do this? Well, again, I go back to we're in the digital world. It's easy to do because we have digital portfolio tools, something like FreshGrade. FreshGrade is a web and mobile platform that empowers students to take their learning with them forever. This makes it so easy for someone to review a body of work with a mouse click or a finger swipe on a mobile device. Literally, with a tool like FreshGrade, a college admissions dean can open a portfolio on an individual and review years of work, feedback from teachers, from peers, videotaped reviews of work from students, from their peers, from teachers. There can be recommendations, which is another big piece of the admission process. Wouldn't it be so much more powerful to see an education stakeholder with a video saying why a student should be part of that family? And school should be a family. What about the students saying, this is who I am? Some colleges are already going to videotaped admissions. Instead of filling out some paperwork, they're saying, send us a video and explain who you are and why you fit. Isn't that better than a GPA? Hack 1, eviscerate the GPA. 2, ignore colleges who refuse to carefully review portfolios. And 3, embrace colleges that are student-centric environments. We don't want the exclusive, we're better than you country clubs. When we look at what embodies a student and a human being, what makes them of value to society, that they are driven to learn for the sake of learning, that they embrace failure, knowing that they can go back, learn more, make change. Iteration leads to mastery. And this needs to be embraced. And too many of these schools that are driven by prestige, they're not about iteration. They're not about mastery. They're just about prestige. And we need to eliminate this and put our students in places that make them better people. Because in the long run, that's going to make society a better place. Can these hacks work? Tell us what you think on Twitter at #HackLearning, on the Hack Learning Facebook page, search Hack Learning Series on Facebook, and on this podcast episode page at hacklearning.org. Please share your opinion because we want to hear from you today. Thanks for listening. See you next time.